Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch launched in 2024, but I've never reviewed it on a factory rubber strap, so you're looking at the Omega Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch white lacquer dial. This dial is upscale in two respects compared to standard. One, it's a glossy white lacquer, and two, it uses applique indices. Otherwise, dimensionally, it is the current generation Moonwatch in steel, 42 millimeters in diameter. It's a sapphire sandwich, 13.6 millimeters thick, 47.3 millimeters lug-to-lug with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. Wears quite nicely. Now, it's not super thick, but look at the shape of the bezel. It can get hung up if your sleeves are super tight, but you should mostly be all right. What's important here is that on the strap, there's no bracelet to extend the watch, so it is quite short across the wrist. And I think if you got a smaller wrist or you're a lady looking for a men's watch, you're going to find that this is the best way to wear it because the strap is quite flexible, and that is the total lug-to-lug, 47.3. There's no bracelet to add to that. My wrist is 16 centimeters circumference for reference. The strap is flexible, comfortable. You can see it does have some definition molded into it. We've got these sort of beveled profiles. We've got conformity to the case. There's no daylight between strap and case. It's a very clean, integrated, proprietary look. We have strakes and sort of almost a satin finish across the top, rolling down towards the clasp now. We've got a clasp with a combination of polished satin, twin trigger release, so it can't pop open inadvertently. It's very secure. And you can see how the strap feeds in through the bottom, so that once it's closed, there's no need for strap minders externally. All the excess length of the strap sits underneath the side. Again, you can see the progression from thin stripes to thicker strakes as we move down towards the clasp. It's a good looking and nuanced strap. It's also very comfortable. This is the famous lyre style lug design where you have this inward bevel and then you have the outward bevel. We've got satin, we've got polish, we've got a polished underside to the bezel. A bit of a sheer guard profile here. This was an innovation of the early 1960s, or at least first half 1960s Speedmaster Professionals, having a little bit of a sheer guard profile so that the crown and the pushers can't accidentally get sheared off by impact. The bezel insert here, as you can see, is anodized aluminum for a historic look. We've got dot over 90, which the anoraks, as they would say, or the train spotters in Britain would look for, and by that I mean the people who are nerds of the type. That's what I mean by train spotters or anoraks. We'll also call them watch nerds. So we've got this dramatically boxed and cambered sapphire that looks like a plexi but is sapphire for scratch resistance. There's no shortage of luminescence on the dial. Even the chronograph seconds hand is luminescent, so if you want to keep track of your seconds, you can easily do so. One feature not included on previous generations of the standard Speedmaster Professional is hacking seconds. That's a feature now that we're using caliber 3.861. You can see the dial's a little bit more deluxe than a standard Moonwatch. We've got a black on white aesthetic, which pops maybe possibly even a little bit better than the usual white on black, but it's the gloss lacquer dial that gives it more of an upscale, rich ambiance, along with the applique indices rather than printed features. And then we've got a Omega applique up at 12 o'clock with the red Seamaster script seeming to pop more. This is a quasi Oreo setup where we've got the black strap and the white lacquer dial. The full Oreo is when you get a white side on the dark side of the moon strap, but this is sort of like a quasi Oreo. Now we've got a lateral clutch and we've got a cam-based system for function selection. And I will tell you, the way Omega and LaMagna now build these movements, the feeling of this cam is better than all but 3 or 4 column wheel chronographs in the business. One thing, however, that is characteristic of a lateral clutch is always going to be that there's a bunch of jump or stagger when you start it up, but that just comes with the territory. If we're going to keep this historically LaMagna based, we're not going to go with a vertical clutch and totally throw out the historic fabric, but we have made quite a few changes compared to, say, the older display case back 1863. So what we've got here is we've got a manual wind, still a 3 hertz beat rate, still a cam chronograph, still a lateral clutch. Almost everything else has changed. We now have a 50-hour power reserve, we have 26 pivot joules, we have a free sprung balance, we have an anti-magnetic silicone hairspring. You can see that there's one spec used for both the solid casebacks and the display casebacks. So in terms of decoration, it's still mechanical, but it's somewhere between the old solid caseback 1861 and the display caseback 1863, which I find to be just a little bit more refined than this, but this has technological sophistication all over any of the previous generation movements. So you get the tracking function, you get the 50-hour power reserve, you get a master chronometer that's accurate to no worse than -0 + 5 seconds per 24 hours, and it's tested as a fully assembled watch, not as a bare movement. Remember, COSC is just a bare movement. The master chronometer test also includes power reserve, durability. It includes the anti-magnetism to over 15,000 Gauss. That's not a maximum, it's a minimum. Water resistance and chronometry. It is a battery of tests created by Omega and the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology, METAS. It's not a proprietary standard. Tudor is also certifying master chronometers, so it's not something Omega made up to flatter itself. It is an objective standard and a very rigorous one. Now you can see the cam and the lateral clutch in operation. What you can't see is the coaxial escapement. First, on a standard Lamagna-based Moonwatch, it is a double impulse direct and indirect impulse system, but its hallmark is that it uses tangential friction, which is less than the sliding friction of a conventional Swiss lever. So the system originally invented in about 1974 by British watchmaker George Daniels, was industrialized by Omega starting in 1999, and they've really perfected it now, improving power reserve, reducing maintenance requirements, and improving chronometry. I still think it's probably the most advanced escapement you can buy for under $50,000. There is a lot to love here. And the watch is 50 meters water resistant. While normally with a push-down crown, I don't rank that as something you would swim with, Omega has mentioned through intermediaries that you can swim with a freshly serviced or freshly manufactured 50-meter push-down crown Moonwatch. And let's not forget this watch's calling card. This is literally the model, with a more luxurious dial albeit, used by NASA astronauts. Their version has a standard black dial and a thermoplastic crystal, but you're talking about something that is still very much used by astronauts today, and an incredibly authentic piece of NASA kit that you can buy and own without having a federal government budget. So if you want one, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.